David, and I race up the stairs in the tallest buildings around. These races are the most intense, grueling physical challenges I've ever done, and I am hooked. And it all began because I decided to face a fear. 4 years ago, I was intimidated by the Stairmasters at the gym. I knew they burned a ton of calories, so one day I confronted that fear. And I challenged myself to just do 5 minutes, just 5. That led to 6, then 8, then 10, then 12. Soon I'd start noting how many stories I'd climb, and I'd go home and find online a building of the same height. These buildings motivated me. And so I began challenging myself to climb the equivalent of the tallest buildings in Detroit, Chicago, Kuala Lumpur, Dubai, buildings all over the world. When I heard about an actual stair race in a 63-story Los Angeles tower, I knew I had to do it. After months of hypothetically climbing buildings, I had the chance to do it for real, and the thought exhilarated me, and it was terrifying. I learned a lot at my first stair race. I learned that you have a timing chip attached to your bib or your shoe. I learned that the starts are staggered, so it's not like Black Friday at Target with everyone rushing the door. Everyone goes in like at one person every 5 to 20 seconds. And races have competitive waves, and then after that, there are waves of more casual climbers. There are water stations on some floor, and the occasional paramedic standing by with oxygen. Despite the staggered start, you will get passed, and people will pass you, and you'll pass others, and the etiquette dictates that the faster climber gets the inside rail. The finish line was on the roof. It was 900 feet up, and my heart was pounding out of my chest when I got there. But when I looked down and saw the city and I knew that my legs had got me up there, something clicked, and I knew that I'd done something really special. I didn't race again for a year, and I did that same building again, and that's the second tallest building in LA, and that wasn't good enough anymore. So I climbed the tallest building in LA, 75-story US Bank Tower. It's the one that gets blown up in Independence Day. And that's the race that got me hooked. I was invited to join a stair racing team. It's called West Coast Labels. It's men and women all across the country that are dedicated to this sport. And I began meeting and befriending these folks, and they're the top athletes. They're the ones bringing home the medals, standing on the podiums, and it inspired me. Having friends and role models has only helped me get better and faster. So now I use handrails to my advantage. I wear gloves so I don't lose my grip when my hands get sweaty. If I can, I'll use the handrails on both sides to pull myself, or I'll just use the inner handrail, hand over hand. Just taking 10% of the work off my legs really adds up when you're doing a 60-story climb. I learned footwork techniques. I take the stairs two at a time, as long as I can, double stepping, with my inner foot hitting the landing each time. That way I can pull on the rail, swing around. My next step that I take is on the next step. Just eliminating 2 steps per landing, it adds up when you have 120 landings. I like training in a variety of places. I train on public stairways where they film Laurel and Hardy and Three Stooges movies. I run the aisles at the Hollywood Bowl. Sometimes I just go to a parking garage near my house. It's the closest stairway that's outdoors, and I'll just run 4 flights over and over and over again. Nothing, though, beats the thrill of a race. I've competed in 22 races, including 8 so far this year. I've raced up a total of 822 stories just since January. These races have taken me across the country to 11 major cities in every time zone. I've sprinted up a 32-story building in 5.5 minutes. I've made it to the roof of a 75-story building in 18.5 minutes. I've raced up the tallest stairwell in the Western Hemisphere, in the Sears Tower in Chicago, and made it to the 103rd floor in just under 28 minutes. Last month, I competed in One World Trade Center, just feet from where the Twin Towers stood. I made it to the 90th floor in 25 minutes and 1 second, but just being there was one of the most profound and powerful moments of my life. Stair races motivate me, and they move me like nothing else. They're demanding. They require focus, strength, drive. I can't stay standing after I finish a race, so I'll collapse until my heart rate gets out of the 180s. After a race, I feel a mix of pride, disbelief, exhaustion, pain, and invincibility. And that's the feeling that I can't get enough of. It's why I keep racing. I'm so unbelievably proud of the guy in this photo and all these photos, and there's another reason too. It's because I'm doing something that just a few years ago would have simply been unthinkable. I'm a climbing machine now, but that's also me. I used to weigh over 400 pounds. That guy wouldn't dream of climbing stairs, he wouldn't dream of doing a race, and he couldn't. Stair racing gives me goals to work towards, and simply put, it's been a huge reason why I've kept off 160 pounds of weight loss for 5 years. You can read more about all of this on my blog, keepitupdavid.com, and I'm going to wrap it up tonight, how I end my posts. 4 little words that encourage me to continue and acknowledge what I've done. Keep it up, David.